Hi, my name is Kayla.
And I'm Sam.
And this is
Read Lier Weewinik,
a YVC library podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Other Birds by, Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. I could not remember her name. Irrelevant. Not really. Let's get into it. So these questions are actually from the author herself. So I think they're pretty interesting, and I'm excited to go over them. So let's just go into the first one. After Zoe's mom died, she grew up in a house that never felt like home to her. However, she finds a home on Mallow Island. What makes up the idea of home for Zoe? What is your idea of home? Is it a place or people that make a home?
So I found this really interesting. She leaves, or she grows up in a house that, and there's a difference between a house and a home, right?
Yeah, I get it.
A house is a building with a bathroom and a bed, as far as I'm concerned. But a home is so much more. The people, the memories you make there, all of that, right?
Completely agree.
And I feel like that's how Zoe feels about the idea of home. And so after some time on the island, because it's not even the apartment she lives in.
Yeah.
Right? Because she moves in and she's like, oh, I totally expected there to, be some stuff left over from my mom from 15 years ago or whatever. Which I feel like was an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's been 20 years.
Maybe she hit something.
Maybe. This was not a, Narnia novel where right?
I don't see a wardrobe anywhere.
No, there wasn't. What's your idea of a home?
My idea of home is pretty similar to Zoe's. My idea of home is the people I love, surrounding me, I don't care where I am as long as I have the people I love with me. I mean, I prefer not to be on the streets, of course.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, rooms are good, but...
Rooms are nice. A luxury, I'd like to say. But you don't need it to be happy.
But yeah, really I feel like the cliche is, right, home is where the heart is.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that because I was like, this is going to sound cliche.
Oh, no, it's totally a cliche,
yeah,
but...
It is.
There's always a piece of truth in those cliches. Yeah.
All right, let's go into the next question. Zoe's neighbors are a quirky bunch, but they soon become her chosen family. Which character do you most identify with? Is that character also your favorite? Why or why not? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I think in some ways I connect with Charlotte more. She's kind of running from her past, and something has happened in her life that's pretty, messed up. And I see that in me because stuff has happened as well. And I was like, oh, she's so strong, she's so powerful, she's getting through this, she's making a life for herself. And then she just really inspires me. So I do think she has to be my favorite character, honestly. I love her and her strength. I love a powerful woman, as I've said a million times in this podcast.
I totally agree. Really, one of my favorite characters is Mac.
I love Mac.
I'm
a big Mac fan.
That
the cornmeal details and all that, I was like, that is so interesting.
I really relate to this idea that you can hold on to grief like a warm blanket, or in his case, a tarp. But you don't need to, and I'm glad he learns that lesson along the way of, I can let this go. I don't need to douse myself in cornmeal every night for the best.
I think his character development isn't talked about enough, personally, because I feel like he learned a lot about himself in that storyline, and he's like, okay, I can finally let go and let the ghosts of my past literally go free. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not even gonna lie, I was sobbing when the ghost was finally able to leave. I was like, Mac doesn't have her anymore. I was like, shoot. What's your favorite character? Like, still Charlotte, or do you have like another one? Two more.
Secondary. I mean, I relate a lot to Mac.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all the different. There's so many. Yeah, I mean,
There is a lot.
the detail he uses in his food.
I honestly like have like a
How
million
he
examples going
has a
on
lot
right
of
now,
really
but
strong memories.
do you know what I mean?
With this person who's no longer around,
But
I
at, like,
definitely
the end
have
of the
that.
day, I think in some ways I connect with
trying to
Charlotte
think,
more. She's like kind of running from her past, and something has happened like in her life that's pretty
No.
messed up. Fake fan. You know what I see that in me because stuff has happened as well.
No.
And I was like, oh, she's so strong. She's so powerful. She's getting through this. She's making a life for herself. And then she just really inspires me. So I do think that has to be my favorite character. Honestly.
I am.
I
No,
love
this
her
is
and her strength. I love a powerful
this is one of those
woman.
books
I've
that's
said
gonna
this
hang
many
around
times
in
this
the back of my head for a long time. I totally agree.
Completely agree. Okay, moving on. In chapter 10, Frasier
Really,
says they're birds, and then
one of
they're
my favorite characters
maybe they
is
don't sing,
Mac.
maybe they don't fly, maybe they don't
I-
fit in. I don't know about you.
I mean,
but I'd much
just-
rather be another bird than just the same old thing.
That
Who are the
that
other birds in the novel? How did the imagery of various birds impact your reading of the story? What did you think of the
I really
Delaware? What do the
relate
birds
to this
represent?
idea
question has like 50 questions
that
behind it, but
you
I'm
can
ready to get
hold
into it.
on to grief.
So
who are the other birds
like
in the
a
novel? Warm
I
blanket. For me,
or in his case, a tarp.
I didn't figure that out until pretty much the end of the book.
No, same. I had no
But
idea.
but
you don't
so
need to.
There's
and
there's
I'm glad he
random
learns that
ghosts
lesson
floating
along the
around.
way.
You're like, okay, that kind of
I can let
yeah,
this
sure,
go.
I
We
don't
have some
need to
ghosts, and then
douse myself in cornmeal every night for the best.
yeah, and then
I
like
think
we
his
have
character
an
development
invisible
is talked about
pigeon,
enough. Love pigeon.
which no
I
explanation
feel
for
like
the
he
invisible
learned a lot
pigeon.
about himself in that
I-
storyline,
I-
and he's
just
like,
like, yeah,
okay, I can
pigeon.
finally let
Yeah.
go and let the ghosts of my past
Oh,
literally
by the
go free.
yeah,
You know what
but
I mean?
and
I was
but
like, I'm not
so
even gonna
weird.
lie. I
like
was sobbing. when,
Zoe
like, the
knows,
ghosts
okay,
finally
it is
I
an
was like,
invisible pigeon. I
"Mac
can't
doesn't
tell
love
other
her
people or else they'll
anymore."
think I'm crazy.
I mean, wouldn't you imagine your friend comes up to you and like, Sam, what's your favorite character? Like, still Charlotte, or do you have like another one?
Around my house.
First off, how do you know it's a pigeon?
secondary?
How do you know?
I mean,
how do you know?
relate a lot to
How do you
Mac.
know it's a pigeon versus a seagull or
Yeah, I
an
mean,
eagle or
the
an
detail
osprey?
he
Like I can
uses in
name
his
50 other
food,
types of birds besides the
never
Deloists.
saw
how
How do
he
you know it's a
has a lot
pigeon?
of really strong memories
And not a raven.
with this person who's no longer around. I definitely have that. I don't know. Trying to think.
So really, like
Also wake up every morning.
halfway through the book, yeah, I'd probably say the other birds are like the other
No.
humans, like at the condo or whatever, right? And then it's like everybody and their mother literally has a ghost just hanging around.
No, this is
Birds, just fire.
This is one of those books that's
Like,
gonna hang around
what?
in the
Yeah.
back of my head for a long time.
I completely agree. Okay,
Man,
moving on. In chapter 10, Frasier says
Is how did
there
the
are
imagery
birds
of the
and then
various
there are
birds
others. Maybe they don't
impact your
sing,
reading
maybe they
of the
don't
story?
fly, maybe they don't fit in. I don't know about you. but I'd much
I honestly
rather
had
be
a
another
hard
bird than
time
just the
like
same old thing.
picturing the
Who are the other
Deloists
birds in the
in
novel? How did the imagery
in
of
my
various
mind.
birds impact your reading of the story?
Yeah, I
What
just
did you think of the
kinda
Deloists?
pictured a little
What did the
fluffy
birds
ball
represent?
of
This question
blue.
has like 50 questions behind it, but I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah.
Initially,
So
when I was, like, reading
who
about
are
the
the
Deloists,
other
I was
birds in
like,
the novel?
Oh, are these real birds?
I feel
I've never heard
for
of these
me,
birds. And I foolishly googled it. And
I didn't figure that out
real birds. I
until
was
pretty
like,
much the end of the book.
Deloists in real life. What did they look like?
Like,
No,
so
they are,
there's
not
random
real.
ghosts floating around, and you're like, okay,
but apparently
that
there's a
kinda-
book within. There's like
sure,
two
we
books
have
within
some
the
ghosts,
book.
and then
Island and like something else.
yeah, and then like we have an invisible pigeon.
Like,
Well,
they're like, oh, this book was so good.
which
like,
no explanation for the invisible pigeon. I mean, hey, if like if we can get the Fantastic
by
Beasts
the-
and where they find them,
Yeah.
but and
be able to
like,
get our freaking
but
Island.
it's so weird. Like,
And Dancing with the
Zoe
Deloists. I
knows,
would read
okay,
it.
it is an invisible pigeon. I can't tell other people or else they'll think I'm crazy.
I mean, wouldn't you imagine the chapters from the point of view of the various ghosts affect your reading of the novel? How would the story have been different without these chapters?
First off, how do you know it's a pigeon?
Literally
How do you know? How do you know?
Think about that.
Right? How do you know it's a pigeon
Yeah.
versus
Okay, so
a
how do
seagull
the chapters
or
the
an
ghost
eagle
chapters
or an
affect reading the
osprey?
novel?
Like, I can name
I felt like
50
it
other
was a-
types of birds
it was a
besides the
brilliant
devils.
way
How
of
do
giving
you know it's a
backstory.
pigeon,
Right?
and not
like,
a raven?
I guess.
Like, no.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And it
I don't know.
worked, right?
so
Really, like, maybe seeing halfway
pigeon
through the book, yeah, I'd probably
kind of
say the other
allowed
birds
the
are
ghost chapters to work.
like,
That's true.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
The other humans, like, at the condo or whatever, right?
Birds, why not?
And
Yeah,
then
I mean,
it's without
like
the invisible
everybody
bird,
and
their mother
like-
literally has a ghost,
Which, yeah,
just
by the way-
hanging around, an invisible bird that just flies around and like knocks stuff over. And,
Yeah.
Things, I guess.
Man,
without that, I feel like I'd be a
out
lot
of the
more
imagery of the
confused
various
about why
words
they're
impact
like,
your
an entire
reading of
chapter
the story.
devoted to that lady who died under a bookshelf. I honestly had a hard time like picturing the Delawitz in my mind.
I would have just like hated.
Yeah,
Lisbeth
I just
off the
kind
bat.
of pictured a little
100%,
ball
once
yeah,
you read her
blue.
chapters, you kind of like get into it that she's kind of like mentally ill. Initially, when I was like reading about the Delawitz, and she blames her sister. Oh, are these real birds? I've never heard of these birds, and I foolishly Googled it. So you kind of feel bad. They're not real birds. I was
Oh, 100%. And there's some deep trauma.
No, they are not
that's
real.
just like
barely hinted.
But apparently, there's a book within it. There's like 2 books within the book.
Oliver, not actually like Lisbeth's kid, but Lucy's kid. I was like, honestly, I wasn't expecting.
Right.
Like
Well,
they're
no.
like, oh, this book was so good. It like shaped
it
her
was
eyes,
crazy.
like,
What
why
really
can't
got
I
me
like
was, I mean, hey, if
what was the
like
sister's
if
name?
we can get the Fantastic Beasts and where do they find them? Lucy.
Yeah.
So
Right,
like this jealousy
Yeah.
that
And
Liz
Dancing with the
always
Delawitz.
had for
I would
Lucy
read Dancing.
because
I would love Dancing with the Devil.
Lucy and
Pretty
Daddy
title as well.
like spend so much time together.
Various ghosts
So-
as
so-
you're reading of the novel. How would the story have been different?
Yeah,
without
so
this
so
chapter?
so you hear
What
about
did the ghosts
that,
represent,
and
literally,
then
metaphorically,
like
for
3
each character?
ghost chapters later, it's
And
they're
I'm
spending
like,
time
gosh,
together.
Yeah. Okay.
behind
So how do
closed
the
doors.
chapters from
Yeah,
point
it was.
the ghost chapters
affect the reading of the novel.
I honestly
I felt like it was a brilliant way of giving backstory.
by her jealousy. She couldn't
Right,
see
like,
I've never seen
oh, I mean, I could imagine that, especially if they were children, and it worked, right? So, right,
like having a child.
maybe
Makes sense. And they're feeling
maybe seeing Pigeon
they're like, they don't know.
kind of
Yeah,
allowed
yeah,
the
and, I mean,
ghost
repressed
chapters
memories,
to work. Right? Does that make
like,
sense?
Yeah, I
You
understand.
could
There's already, like, a
totally
magical
look at
element, so,
that.
like, yeah, I guess it would make sense.
Never go to therapy in your life, and then 60 years later,
Yeah,
still without the invisible
back and be like,
bird.
No, this was ridiculous.
Which, yeah,
they
by the
shouldn't
way,
have been
an invisible bird that
like,
just flies
keeping
around and
me
like
out of the playroom.
knock stuff over
Those
and
bird things, I guess. It was
yeah.
really heartbreaking. But it was
But
a really
without
sad
that, I feel like
story
I'd be a lot
that
more
allowed me to,
confused
like,
about why
yeah,
they're
more of-
like an entire chapter
Yeah.
As
devoted
for
to
what their
that
ghosts
lady who
represent,
died under a
like,
bookshelf.
besides just being ghosts, I
Yeah.
think they kind of represent memories for the characters.
But yeah,
in a
I
way.
feel like
you know what I mean. Like
Oh.
without the perspective.
Oh, yeah,
I would've
especially
just, like,
Camille,
hated Lisbeth
right?
Off the bat.
Oh,
But
100%,
once
yeah.
you read her chapter,
Camille
you kinda,
being
like, get into it
Max.
that she's kind of like mentally ill.
mentor
A lot of
slash
stuff has happened to
mom
her,
that
and she
fed
blames
him
her
as, like,
sister for a lot of things that she should not have blamed her
homeless
sister
kid,
for.
you know.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel bad for her at the end, you know.
Oh, 100%. And there's some
You wanna circle
deep
back to that?
that was
Trauma?
so interesting
I know.
that's just like I mean, hey,
barely
it's gluten
hinted
free, right?
And
Like
the whole like Oliver,
I love
not
Camille's
actually
character.
character. It's just like someone that you Lucy's kid. I was like there for you. Like I wasn't expecting it. Or like your grandma.
no. Oh, she,
Like,
best
It
grandma.
was
It was crazy. What really got me was
Anyways,
what was her sister's
let's
name?
think about the magical realism in other birds.
Lucy.
In chapter 9,
So
Zoe says
the
invisible
this
does not always mean
jealousy
imaginary. And in chapter
that
22,
that
she
Lisbeth
says, "Not
always
everything
had for
has to be
Lucy
real to be
because
true." How is this evident in the
Lucy
novel?
and Daddy
Do you agree?
like
Have
spend
you
so
experienced
much
these
time
sentiments?
together.
Yeah, it was.
So,
I
so
was like, oh,
Invisible does not always mean imaginary.
yeah,
I mean,
so you hear about that, and there's several different aspects
like,
of this,
three
right? Ghost chapters
the person
later,
who's
it's-
saying that literally
they're spending
has
time together
an invisible bird.
behind closed doors.
Yeah,
So
it was
So for her, it's quite literal. Invisible does not mean imaginary. I know that Pigeon is real because she knocks over my crap. Oh, I mean, I could, right? I could imagine that, especially if they were children.
Yeah.
Right? So you're saying you don't have an invisible pigeon who messes up?
Pigeon, don't let anyone know though. It's a secret.
Yeah, and I mean, repressed memories, right? Like, you could totally look at that. Never go to therapy in your life, and then 60 years later, still look back and be like, I can absolutely. This was ridiculous. They shouldn't have been. Like, this is how I would describe out of the playroom. The stories in books, the stories in a really well written TV show. Doctor Who being like one of those TV shows.
I mean, they kind of represent memories. For
some of I've learned life. Oh yeah, I mean, especially Camille. Right? Wasn't expecting that quote. Camille being Max.
Sorry. That was like my favorite.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. No, but like, there's so many really well done quotes in these really well written TV shows. So interesting. And books. I mean, hey, it's gluten free. Is the story in the book real? No.
It could be, but no, I love.
Doesn't have to be real to be true.
And events someone that you want to be. Events that have happened in some books have happened in real life, like your grandma and others.
Oh,
so I feel like
best grandma ever.
Look at it, actually. I wasn't even thinking about that. So, anyway, very nice, Sam. Let's think about magical realism in other words. In chapter 9, Zoe says invisible does not always be imaginary. And in
it's evident in the novel
she
because
says, not everything
Zoe
has
obviously has
how is this evident in the
an
novel?
invisible bird, a history of invisible birds. By the way, this is like a family tradition going back. Invisible does not always mean imaginary. I mean, now, granted, there's several different aspects of this, right? The person who's saying that literally has an invisible bird.
Yeah, but you've read books? Yeah.
So for her, it's quite literal. Invisible does not mean imaginary. I know that Pigeon is real I also because she knocks over my crap. Right? Like,
I don't have examples of that like in my own life.
I mean, I would widen. You don't have an invisible pigeon who messes up. Right. Story can be video games, movies, TV shows,
I feel like
fiction books, poetry, like all of these artistic expressions.
Yeah. Like maybe like feeling. Actually, I'm not even gonna go into
that's
it
what I
because
I can.
Very well said.
I can absolutely
go into it. Okay. When Charlotte, whose birth name
this is how I would describe books.
She takes her late friend Charlotte
the stories in books, the stories in a really well written TV show. Doctor Who being like one of those TV shows. I mean,
what does a name mean to Charlotte?
Some of I've learned life.
Discuss the importance of name and identity.
Okay, wasn't expecting that quote. What does a name mean to Charlotte? The name.
Okay, moving on.
Not only. No, but like taking the name. There's so many of really, her friend who really well done quotes better than in these really well written TV shows, and Pepper is the ideal person in this situation. Pepper is the story in the book real? No, like Pepper's perfect all the way to be true. And Pepper is everything Charlotte wants. Wait,
I feel like that's a really good grade.
Charlotte is.
I wasn't even thinking about I know what you're trying to say.
Sorry.
Like a mix of names. Very nice.
So I flipped it. So the real Charlotte is perfect. Everything that Pepper wants to be in life. It's evident in the novel because when there's an Zoe obviously has to, jump out of this invisible bird. A history of invisible birds, by the way. Charlotte's name family with tradition because not only does that name give her power and strength, but it gives her the ability to just skip town. I don't have an invisible bird.
Yeah, I feel like I don't either. But you've read books?
I am the library. It's literally my job.
Literally pretty sad. So, I'd be like an identity. I absolutely think that is.
I also feel like
well. Like, their
yeah.
names are so deeply tied to their identity, and it's a very important thing. So I 100%.
I mean, I would widen. I'd widen it to story.
And I mean,
Yeah.
right.
the
Story
issue
can be video games,
surrounding dead names,
movies,
right?
TV shows. I
fiction
mean, there's a
books,
reason
poetry,
that it is
like
called
all
a
of these
dead
artistic expressions.
name.
Exactly. Thank you, Sam. So
That's what I
for Roscoe and Fraser and
Yeah.
Paloma and Pigeon, I
Very
think,
well said, Sam.
I think Roscoe obviously had an alternate. When Charlotte, who's very famous where he lives, and he wants to,
grew up
you know,
in, she
kind of live a
takes her late friend
semi-normal life,
Charlotte's
and
name.
he checks
Kinda
himself,
can't,
but also
and
he's
he's
like,
not
hey, I'm this famous
After
author
her
that
mother
you know and
exposes
love.
the secret, here's
Charlotte
my
thinks
idea.
about going on
Right,
the
yeah,
Reddit in
like,
chapter 21, and how she would have to change her name
being
for her
being a
identity
celebrity
again.
right
It was
in
like losing
LA
herself all
is
over
totally
again.
different
What does a name
than
mean to Charlotte?
being
Do you
the
agree that a name
dude
is
who
tied to
put
an
this
identity?
island
Discuss
on the
the
map.
importance of name and identity to Roscoe,
Like,
Fraser, and Paloma.
The
Pigeon.
only
What does a
reason
name
this
mean to you?
island exists now is because
What does
this
the name
dude
mean to
wrote a book that
Charlotte?
captured the hearts of
Yeah,
millions.
and
The
tourist
name,
Let's go there. Let's get those
not
Maui
only
treats.
is she
just
taking the
Paloma
name
Pigeon.
of
I
her
don't
friend,
think
who
there's
she
much
thinks
there,
is better than her.
personally. Yeah. that
Right?
would
Yeah,
be
I mean,
agreed.
Pepper
like I said,
is the
I
ideal
still don't know
person in the
why
situation.
she's called
Pepper,
Pigeon
Pepper's the
specifically.
best.
Pepper's perfect.
Like, Pepper's perfect all the way. And Pepper is everything Charlotte wants to.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Charlotte is.
I know what you're
Sorry,
trying to say. There's
sorry.
like a mix of names.
Sorry, I flipped it. So the real Charlotte is perfect, everything that Pepper wants to be in life. And when there's an opportunity to, jump out of this cult, she takes it, and she takes Charlotte's name along with it, because not only does that name give her power and strength, but it gives her the ability to just skip town and hopefully never get caught.
Yeah, I feel like she also picked that name in honor of Charlotte because she did pass away. And it
100%.
was pretty sad. As for like a name being tied to an identity, I absolutely think that it is. Like, you can bring up the issue with like trans folk as well. Like, their names are so deeply tied to their identity, and it's a very important thing. So I 100% think that it is.
Yeah, and I mean, the issue surrounding dead names, right? I mean, there's a reason that it is called a dead name.
Exactly. Thank you, Sam. So, for Roscoe and Fraser and Paloma and Pigeon, I think Roscoe obviously had an alternate name because he's very famous where he lives, and he wants to, kind of live a semi-normal life, and he kind of can't if he's like, hey, I'm this famous author that you know and love. Here's my ID.
Right? Yeah, like being a celebrity, right, in LA is totally different than being the dude who put this island on the map.
Literally.
Like, the only reason this island exists now is because this dude wrote a book that captured the hearts of millions.
And the tourists were like, let's go there. Let's get those mallow treats. As for Paloma and Pigeon, I don't think there's as much there, personally.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still don't know why she's called Pigeon specifically.
Me either. I didn't really explain that in the book, and like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I was kind of curious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what does a name mean to you, Sam?
Names are really interesting.
Names are.
No. They're definitely deeply tied to identity, right?
I do think that they are, yeah.
I mean, I often joke about my first name because the story goes that my dad picked my name out of sleep deprivation.
I love that, actually. I mean, you look like a Sam, too.
Yeah, that's so interesting, though. Like, but what if I change my name? Would I look like
no, I feel like
this other person?
No,
this other
I
name?
feel like I would always think of you as in my head as like, oh, that's a Sam right there. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Or I'm like,
Yeah.
Sam. I don't know. I feel like once you get to know a person and you know their name, you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's definitely like Sam. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense at all, but that's how I'm taking it.
Yeah. And I mean, even with nicknames, right? Like, there's a reason that I introduced myself, everybody here, as Sam and not Samuel. Yeah. Now, Samuel's more professional, and if I'm shaking hands with, you know, the president, then I'm gonna introduce myself as Samuel.
Big dreams, big dreams. President just rolls up to the college. Can I see Samuel Falk, please? It's important.
I actually meant like Dr. Kaminsky, the president.
I thought you meant the president of the United States. I was like,
that
is like so random. Like, how would you meet the president of the United States? Sorry, my bad. I'm a little dumb. Okay. Goose Bravo. Moving on. How did you feel after you found out that Pigeon was Paloma's spirit guarding Zoe? What role did Pigeon play in the story before learning she is Paloma's spirit? In your opinion, did the revelation change Pigeon's importance in the story? Why or why not?
How did I feel after I found out that Pigeon was Paloma? It was very satisfying for me.
Yeah.
Because I clocked that. Like,
yeah, he actually did. He asked me about it. He's like, don't tell me, don't spoil it for me, but are they the same? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I thought so, but I don't know.
Yeah, your answer was, I thought so. With a total straight face, great poker face. I'm like, okay.
And then I don't want to give this away.
And then you get to literally the last page.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I'm Paloma, everyone. And Paloma is like such a pretty name. Like, that's totally off topic, but I love the name Paloma.
We were just talking about names.
That's true. I kind of was unsurprised when I found out that Pigeon was Paloma. I was like, I feel like this is a very clear setup that the author would go for. So I was like, that's so crazy. They're the same.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Whereas I didn't catch Roscoe and Fraser being the same person.
Yeah. I clocked that too.
I didn't. So I don't know, maybe there's, some twist endings for different audiences.
I was mainly thinking because he's like, you cared so much about the Delawisps and the island, and I was like, something feels off about this. Something feels like you wrote an entire book about this place.
I mean that's true. So like maybe I just wasn't paying attention close enough to where, because Roscoe is he's described as, the dude who literally wrote the book. Mm-hmm. And he cared so much about the condos that he bought them to keep them historic. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
And I was like, who has the kind of money to buy all of those condos, first of all? Because it's like a small island. Not everyone is going to like...
Yeah.
There's very few people on that island that would have buco bucks to be able to afford that. I'm just saying.
Fair enough.
Did you think the revelation of like Pigeon changed her importance in the story at all?
Maybe. So I'm gonna say that I would need to read it again, because I feel like that revelation is definitely one of those where it's like, okay, so now that I know for sure that Pigeon just isn't a random bird ghost,
invisible bird ghost.
Now I kind of want to go back through the story and be like, okay, when does Pigeon freak out?
That's very true.
Like, what does Pigeon actually do? Mm-hmm. It's interesting that, Paloma ends her chapter basically saying, it's time for me to go, fly south for the winter or whatever.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Because, I feel drawn to the other birds. So, is she, turning into a bird?
I don't know if she's turning into a bird or if she's, flying to, a version of heaven or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to fish that out.
Or is she just going to hang out with other birds?
Yeah, maybe she's
be
just
a bird.
Yeah, just embracing the bird life. It's simple. Eat seed, fly, poop. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
Okay. A lush and vivid setting is integral to Sarah Addison Allen's novels, and Mallow Island is no different. How real did you find Mallow Island? Is it a place you'd like to visit? Were you surprised by how marshmallows got their name?
Okay. How real did I find Mallow Island? Not very real, to be honest.
Really?
Well, okay.
Like, aside from, like, the birds and the ghosts?
I guess for me, like, so there's a tourist trap island where marshmallows were invented?
Yeah.
Like, why is there an entire... I mean...
I feel like there could be a place in the world right now that's, like maybe they found, I don't know, wheat or something, and they're called Wheatville or whatever, and that's, like, their whole thing. I feel like it's possible. Maybe not with, like, marshmallows necessarily, but, like, you know, some towns are, like, named after what they've produced, I guess. I can't think of an example, but...
Hershey, San Francisco.
That!
Literally.
You thought of an example.
I think it's San Francisco. Don't quote me on that.
I don't know. It's Hershey something. Chocolate. Would you like
it's
to
not
visit?
I know it's not San Francisco, but Hershey is a town somewhere that produced the chocolate.
You know, they're doing chocolate things.
Yeah.
So, do you want to visit Mallow Island?
I would like to visit Mallow Island in its prime.
In its prime, like not like in the current state it is in the book?
I mean, because I feel like it's a dead little tourist town.
I don't think it's dead. It is just a little... I'm sorry. I don't know. I wasn't expecting that because I was like eating Mallow Island up. I was like, I want to live on Mallow Island. It seems so pretty and ethereal.
I mean, it does seem pretty and it does seem ethereal. I'm just not sure I'd want to, like, eat at a restaurant that puts marshmallows in every single dish.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But it would be an interesting experience.
It would be an interesting experience to be a tour, to go and visit. I don't think I want to live there.
Fair enough. I'd live there. If I had the money, I'd have a nice little vacation home there, you know.
No, yeah, just take one of the condos.
Yeah, I wish. But were you surprised by how marshmallows got their name?
Very surprised. I had no idea.
Me neither.
That was very surprising.
I was like, it just sounds like a soft word. So they were like, oh, this soft, squishy sugar is a marshmallow. I was like, yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of neat. So in chapter 9, Zoe finds 4 highlighted passages in Lizbeth's copy of Sweet Mallow. History is known for sugarcoating. Sometimes it's the only thing that can make it palatable. Second chances are not to be wasted. It is one of the most valuable lessons we can learn in life. Stories aren't fiction, stories are fabric. They're the white sheets we drape over our ghosts so we can see them. Once I got over the guilt of loving my future more than I love my past, my old life dropped away and became make-believe, and my present life became my second birth. Which of those lines most resonates with you? Discuss. Yeah, it's pretty wordy. You're going to have to, like, probably reread it.
No, I mean, a lot of these passages, chef's kiss all the way.
I loved it, honestly. It was very deep.
These are so good. History is known for... Let's take a little bit of time and, dive into it, right?
Yeah.
History is known for sugarcoating. Sometimes it's the only thing that can make it palatable. And take out the context that we're writing in a book about marshmallows. So it's very poignant with that.
Yeah.
But also, history is rewritten by the victors.
They are, and I'm gonna like go into it a little bit. What we're taught in school is not like the real actual history that happened. Like, for example, the Native Americans, we were taught that, you know, we were like buddies with them.
Yeah, we showed up and gave them turkeys.
Yeah, like we like ate with them. But in reality, you know, mass genocide, racism, all that.
Yeah.
So I very much, history is just pure sugarcoating in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could find me a single history book that like says it how it is, like used in school. I'm sure there's also one out there.
Yeah.
Like, not that it doesn't exist.
By the way, the library just got a few new history books written by a local historian author.
Oh, I love a good historian. They're like the cutest kind of nerds. I don't know.
Second,
like the dead.
Second chances are not to be wasted is the most valuable lessons we can learn in life. I have no more words.
Yeah,
That's just...
It's just such a true and powerful statement in itself. And I feel like when some people do get second chances, they do waste them. And
Yeah.
a third chance doesn't just come by as often, you know what I mean?
No. Stories aren't fiction, stories are fabric. They're the white sheets we drape over our ghosts so we can see them.
That was like the prettiest part of like this whole thing for me.
100%.
The wording, the imagery. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous.
I've always loved playing with pieces of language like that, and Sarah Addison Allen, I mean, this is the first book I've ever read by Sarah
Yes, me as
Addison
well.
Allen, and she's a master at this.
It's honestly, she writes incredibly well.
I mean, I love that line even without the ghosts in the novel.
Yeah, no, same. Like, I would literally get it tattooed. I don't know. I just like tattoos.
That would be a really cool tattoo,
I know,
though.
it'd be so pretty. Like, I have like,
Right.
anyways, not the point. I'm obsessed with that line.
Once I got over the guilt of loving my future more than I loved my past, my old life dropped away and became make-believe, and my present life became my second birth.
Another kind of hard-hitting line.
Yeah. Got over the guilt of loving my future more than I love my past. So I feel like that plays into a lot of this like kind of common sense notion of don't waste the present in don't let the present pass you by as you are looking towards the future,
That's very well put.
right?
Yeah.
And I would say that's great advice for students.
It is actually pretty good advice for students. Because, like, a lot of people have problems, like, lingering on the past or worrying about the future, and they kind of forget just to live in the moment and be who they are right now.
Yeah.
So I think that, honestly, it's very true. And it's something to kind of think about. Sweet Mallow is a book within a book. Taking into consideration what you learned about Sweet Mallow, what are similar themes of Sweet Mallow and other birds? Did you want to read Sweet Mallow?
What are similar themes of Sweet Mallow and other birds? I mean, Sweet Mallow really, it brings about the history of that island
Yeah.
in a more tangible way than just dialogue between characters,
Yeah.
right? Hearing about,
Like the history.
Yeah.
What people have, like, been through.
yeah, and then learning towards the end that Roscoe Frazier like, wrote the book because a ghost wouldn't shut up.
Yeah, I thought that was really, like, funny and interesting. I was like, oh my god, I love that.
And I love this idea that the ghost basically told him everything that he needed to know for the book.
Yeah.
It was like, you need to tell my story, and
Yeah.
then Russell's like, fine, shut up.
Please go away
I'll-
before I exercising.
Yeah, like, I'll write your book, shut up. And it becomes a hit, right? It
Yeah.
puts the island on the map, all of that.
Gets him to cash.
And he's like, oh, hey, I'm a best-selling author now. Let me try and write another book.
Yeah.
And it flops. Because he
Yeah.
doesn't have that inspiration,
Yeah.
that, like, real, true element. So, is he a good author?
That's a good question. Is he just someone who rewrote the words of a ghost? Or is he an author who put those words together and formatted it and created something, different than just what the ghost said?
Right? Like,
Yeah.
but when he writes Dancing with the Devil-Wisps,
Yeah.
nobody cares.
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to read it. They're lame for that, but it just it obviously didn't have as much passion as the first one because he wasn't being prodded at by an annoying ghost.
Well, maybe if Pigeon had showed up
Right.
and, like,
Because I'm just like, hey, write this right now. Did you want to read Sweet Mallow?
I did.
I do so much, you don't even understand.
No, and I mean, I'm not even really that big of a history person.
Yeah.
I have friends who joke about random bits of history,
Yeah.
but
Love history.
I don't usually like go seek. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah, like read a history book or
Go-
something. No, that's
I'm not saying you shouldn't go read
No,
history
you
books.
could. You totally can.
But a history book with that level of detail and passion put into it.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
absolutely adore it. I would eat Sweet Mallow up. I kind of hope that the author does kind of like write it just for like a project. I don't know.
I think that would be really cool.
I would like pre-order that. Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed this book myself. Right after I read it, I kind of like screeched to Sam about it. I was like, "It's so good, Sam. You're gonna love it. Oh my god!" I finished it in like a day. I loved it.
This is one of my new favorites.
I agree. Same.
This and the Midnight Library.
Oh, I love the Midnight Library. And we covered that as well. So I mean, if you want to go check it out, that'd be nice. Cool, chill, you know.
And we now have every novel that this podcast has covered.
Yeah. Come get them, baby.
The library owns, including Other Birds. So
So if
you
hear
can,
this, come by and get it.
yeah,
And then talk to us about it.
please do
Because we're lonely and our jobs are slow sometimes.
come talk to us.
Please. Anyways, remember, guys, always remember to vote. Remember to register. Elections are coming up. And it's really important to use your voice in the country and all that jazz. So yeah, remember to do that. It's important. And we'll see you in the next episode, maybe, probably.
See you next time.
Bye.